The large silver ship appeared in Earth's sky one Monday morning in April 2047. It hovered above major cities for 3 days before sending any messages. People were scared at first. Some ran away from big cities. Others stayed and waited, pointing cameras at the sky. On the 4th day, the ship sent a message to all radio stations and TV channels at the same time. We are the Zeridians. We come from a star system 40 light years away. We wish to meet with Earth leaders. We come in peace. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. After much argument, they decided to send a small team to meet the aliens at the International Space Station. The team included Commander Peter Walsh, a tall man with gray hair who had served in space for 15 years, and Dr. Kimberly Rodriguez, Earth's best xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien life. The Zeridians sent a small ship to the space station. When the door opened, Earth's representatives got their first look at the aliens. They were tall, about 7 feet, with blue skin that seemed to shine in the light. Each had 4 long arms and a face with 3 large eyes, one in the center of their forehead and 2 where human eyes would be. Their skin had small scales that looked almost see-through. They wore simple white clothes that looked like robes. "I am Clock 7, said the first alien to step forward. The words came from a small device on its chest, translating its musical sounds into English. "I am the ambassador of the Zeridian High Council." Commander Walsh stepped forward and gave a small bow. "I am Commander Peter Walsh of Earth. We welcome you to our solar system." The meeting went well. The Zeridians explained they had been exploring space for over 200 years, looking for other intelligent life. They had found some, but none as interesting as humans. "Your planet has amazing diversity," Clock 7 said. "Our world lost most of its animal life during a climate disaster 500 years ago. We have only 30 species of animals left on our home planet." Dr. Rodriguez showed them pictures of Earth's animals on her tablet. When she showed pictures of dogs, cats, and rabbits, the aliens made strange bell-like sounds. "Are they okay?" whispered Commander Walsh. "I think they're laughing," Dr. Rodriguez said. "They seem happy." The aliens moved closer to see more pictures. When they saw videos of puppies playing, they made the bell sounds again, louder this time. "These small furry creatures," Clock 7 said, pointing at a video of kittens. "What are they called?" "These are kittens, baby cats," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "They're pets, animals we keep in our homes for company." The 3 aliens looked at each other and made quick musical sounds in their language. Then Clock 7 turned back to the humans. "In all our exploration of 17 galaxies, we have never seen creatures as wonderful as these. We must learn more about them." Over the next few weeks, more meetings happened. The Zeridians offered to trade advanced technology for the chance to study Earth's animals. They promised not to harm any creatures, only to observe them. The United Nations saw a big opportunity. The Zeridians had technology that could help solve Earth's biggest problems: clean energy systems, advanced medical tools, and faster-than-light travel technology. 2 months after first contact, the UN and the Zeridian High Council signed the Earth-Zerid Friendship Treaty. As part of the agreement, a special program was created, the Animal Observation Initiative. The Zeridians built a research base in a large valley in Wyoming. They chose this spot because it had different types of environments nearby: forests, plains, mountains, and lakes, with many different animal species. Human scientists worked with the aliens to set up safe ways for them to see animals up close. They started with small domestic animals like hamsters and guinea pigs. The aliens would sit for hours just watching the small creatures eat and move around. "I've never seen anyone so interested in a hamster running on a wheel," said Lisa Powell, one of the human scientists. She watched as 3 Zeridians tracked every movement of a small brown hamster with complete focus. "Our world has nothing like this," explained Mev 12, a Zeridian scientist. "The smallest animal on our planet is about the size of your dogs, and none have fur." News about the aliens' love for Earth animals spread quickly. People from around the world sent pictures and videos of their pets to the Zeridian Information Center. The aliens created a special room where they displayed these images on large screens. They would stand in groups making their happy bell sounds as they watched cats knock things off tables or dogs catch frisbees. 6 weeks after the research base opened, Clock 7 made an announcement. Our people are very interested in Earth's animals. Many wish to visit to see them in person. Would Earth allow Ziridian tourism? World leaders quickly agreed. The chance to have rich aliens visiting Earth, paying to see zoos and wildlife parks, was too good to pass up. Countries began competing to showcase their unique wildlife. Australia created special tours to see kangaroos and koalas. African nations set up luxury viewing areas near watering holes where aliens could watch elephants, giraffes, and lions. Even small countries found ways to attract the alien tourists by showing off their local birds or fish. The first tourist ship arrived 3 months later. 500 wealthy Ziridians came to Earth, each paying the equivalent of $1 million for the trip. They brought advanced technology and rare minerals as payment. Earth's economy boomed. Hotels built special tall rooms for the Ziridians. Restaurants created food that their bodies could digest. Zoos added special viewing areas where the aliens could get closer to the animals. At the Wyoming research base, the Ziridians moved on to studying larger animals. They watched deer in a special forest enclosure. They observed birds through dome-shaped windows. They spent hours studying beavers building dams. They're like children seeing toys for the first time, Commander Walsh said during a visit to the base. He was now the official human liaison to the Ziridians. I never thought our squirrels and rabbits would be the key to interstellar diplomacy. But as the Ziridians' fascination grew, so did their requests. They wanted to touch the animals, not just watch them. They wanted to take some specimens back to their home planet to study. The UN debated these requests carefully. No one wanted to upset their new alien friends, but they also worried about the safety of Earth's animals. What no one considered was whether Earth's animals might be dangerous to the aliens. 6 months after the first contact, the Wyoming research base had grown into a small city. Dozens of round, silver buildings dotted the valley. Ziridians and humans worked side by side, studying Earth's wildlife with growing excitement. Susan Garcia now ran the day-to-day operations at the base. A short woman with curly black hair and a quick smile, she had a background in both zoology and international relations. She spoke into her communication device as she walked through the main research hall. Yes, Ambassador Clock 7. We're ready for the raccoon observation tomorrow. We've set up a special area that mimics their natural habitat. She paused, listening to the musical tones from the other end. No, they can't be touched yet. We're still doing health screenings. The Ziridians had become more insistent about interacting directly with animals. Their initial wonder had developed into a deep scientific curiosity. They wanted to feel fur, observe behaviors up close, and study how animals responded to them. In Nang, the main viewing dome, 20 Ziridians watched a family of deer grazing in an enclosed meadow. Their three-eyed faces remained completely still, focused on every movement the animals made. They only moved to take notes on their thin, transparent tablets. Susan joined Dr. Alan Jenkins, the head veterinarian, who was monitoring the animals' vital signs on a screen. They've been watching those same deer for 5 hours, Alan whispered. I've never seen such focus. Their planet has so few animal species, Susan replied. Imagine growing up seeing only 30 types of animals, and then discovering Earth. With its millions of species, Alan nodded. The deer seem totally comfortable now. Last week they were nervous with all those eyes on them, but they've adapted. A tall Ziridian approached them. This was Mev 12, one of the lead alien scientists. Unlike most of the others who wore simple white robes, Mev 12 had adopted a human-style lab coat with 4 armholes. Susan Garcia, we have received the transmission from our home world, Mev 12 said through the translator device. The first zoo for Earth animals is being built on Girid. We hope to begin transporting specimens within 3 months. Susan frowned slightly. The UN hasn't approved any animal transfers yet, Mev 12. There are still many concerns to address. What concerns could there be? Mev 12's head tilted to one side. We will provide excellent care. The animals will have better lives than in the wild. It's not that simple, Alan cut in. We don't know how Earth animals will adapt to your planet's gravity, atmosphere, or bacteria. and there are ethical concerns about removing animals from their natural environment. The alien made a series of sharp musical notes that the translator didn't catch. Susan had learned enough about Zeridian expressions to recognize frustration. "We will discuss this at the next council meeting," Mev-12 said finally. "Our people are very eager to have Earth animals on Zerid." After the alien walked away, Alan turned to Susan. "They're getting impatient." "I know," Susan sighed. "But we can't rush this. Remember what happened with the rabbits? 3 weeks earlier, a group of Zeridians had been allowed to pet rabbits for the first time. They had been so excited that several rabbits got stressed and died later from heart failure. The incident had led to stricter protocols about animal interactions. Later that day, Susan led a tour for a group of New Zeridian tourists who had paid huge sums to visit the research base. These weren't scientists but wealthy alien citizens, eager to see Earth's animals up close. "Through this corridor you'll see our aquatic observation area," Susan explained as she led them into a large room with floor-to-ceiling tanks. Fish of all colors and sizes swam in the carefully maintained environments. The aliens pressed close to the glass, their bell-like sounds of delight echoing in the room. Some used their forearms to take pictures and videos from different angles, all at once. "These will be transmitted back to Zerid tonight," explained the tour guide who had come with the group. "Millions of our people watch daily feeds of Earth animals. There are now 20 channels dedicated to different species." Susan wasn't surprised. Earth's economy had transformed since the Zeridians arrived. Animal tourism had become the planet's biggest industry. Countries that had struggling economies now thrived by showcasing their unique wildlife to alien visitors. Brazil had turned parts of the Amazon into observation zones where Zeridians could watch monkeys and tropical birds. Japan had created special boats with underwater viewing areas to show off their sea life. Kenya's safari parks now had special alien-friendly lodges that charged $1 million per night. And it wasn't just tourism. The Zeridians paid for their visits with advanced technology. New clean energy systems had replaced fossil fuels. Medical devices could now cure diseases that were once fatal. Earth was changing fast, all because aliens found squirrels and rabbits. Fascinating. That evening, Susan attended a meeting with UN representatives who had flown in from New York. They gathered in a conference room with large windows overlooking the mountains. "The Zeridian High Council is putting pressure on us," said George Bennett, the lead negotiator. "They want to take at least 50 animal species back to their planet." "We've barely studied how their biology interacts with ours," Susan argued. "We need more time." "Time may be a luxury we don't have," said Julia Chen, another representative. "They're hinting that further technology transfers depend on us allowing them to take animals to Zerid." The debate went back and forth for hours. Some argued that a few carefully chosen species could be sent as a gesture of goodwill. Others worried about unknown consequences. "At the very least," Susan insisted, "we need a full biological compatibility study. We don't know if Earth animals could carry diseases harmful to Zeridians, or if their environment might harm our animals." The meeting ended with a compromise. The UN would allow a small number of animals to go to Zerid, but only after extensive testing and preparation. They would start with species that adapted well to new environments, like rats and certain fish. Susan walked back to her quarters under the star-filled Wyoming sky. She couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Everything had moved so quickly. Just 6 months ago, humans had been alone in the universe. Now alien tourists filled Earth's wildlife parks, and soon Earth animals would be living on a distant planet. What she didn't know was that the careful plans made that night would never come to pass. The next day, everything would change because of one curious Zeridian and one frightened raccoon. The morning after the UN meeting, the Wyoming research base buzzed with activity. A team had captured 3 raccoons overnight from a nearby forest. The animals were now in a special holding area where they would be checked by veterinarians before being moved to an observation habitat. Frank Wilson arrived early for his shift. He was a technician responsible for preparing animal enclosures and making sure all safety protocols were followed. A former park ranger with a weathered face and calm manner, Frank took his job seriously. He knew that even small mistakes could stress the animals. "Morning, Susan." he said as he passed Susan Garcia in the hallway. "I heard we got those raccoons for today's observation." "Yes, they came in last night," Susan replied. "Dr. Jenkins is checking them now. The Zeridians are very excited. They've been asking about raccoons ever since they saw videos of them washing food." Frank nodded. "I'll make sure the habitat is ready. We're using observation room 7, right? With the stream and the hollow logs?" "That's right. Ambassador Clock 7 and 5 other dignitaries will be watching the introduction at 10 o'clock. Frank spent the next hour preparing the habitat. He checked the temperature, made sure the artificial stream had the right water flow, and placed food in various hiding spots to encourage natural foraging behavior. Everything had to be perfect for this important demonstration. Meanwhile, in the medical lab, Dr. Alan Jenkins examined the raccoons. They had been lightly sedated for their health checks and were now waking up in separate cages. "All 3 look healthy," he told his assistant. "Normal weight, good coat condition, no parasites. They can go to the observation room after they're fully awake." At 9:30, Frank went to the holding area to help move the raccoons. 2 were fully awake, moving around their cages cautiously. The 3rd still seemed drowsy. "Let's take these 2 active ones," Dr. Jenkins decided. "The 3rd can join later when it's more alert." They carefully transferred the raccoons to special transport carriers. The animals chittered nervously but didn't seem overly stressed. Frank and another technician carried them toward observation room 7. What they didn't notice was MEV 12 watching from around a corner. The Zeridian scientist had been growing increasingly frustrated with the slow pace of animal interactions. After overhearing about the raccoons, MEV 12 had decided to get a closer look before the official observation. As Frank and his colleague entered the preparation area outside observation room 7, they set down the carriers to enter the security code for the door. In that moment, Frank's colleague realized he'd forgotten the data tablet they needed. "I'll run back and get it," he said. "Start the environmental checks without me." Frank nodded and went inside the room to check the temperature and humidity, levels 1 last time. The raccoon carriers remained in the preparation area, temporarily unattended. This was the opportunity MEV 12 had been waiting for. The Zeridian moved quickly to the preparation area and approached the carriers. Through the mesh front, MEV 12 could see the raccoons inside. One was moving around nervously while the other was sitting still, its dark eyes watching carefully. MEV 12 was fascinated by the raccoons' dexterous paws and distinctive masked faces. In all the educational videos the Zeridians had watched about Earth animals, raccoons stood out as particularly interesting because of their hand-like paws and problem-solving abilities. Without hesitating, MEV 12 opened the latch on the carrier containing the calmer raccoon. The alien had 4 long, slender blue arms and reached in with the lower right one to gently stroke the animal's fur. At that exact moment, Frank returned to the preparation area. His eyes widened in alarm. "Wait! Don't open that!" he shouted. "That one hasn't been cleared for interaction yet." The translation delay proved costly. By the time MEV 12's translator device converted Frank's words into the musical Zeridian language, the alien had already lifted the raccoon out of the carrier. At first, the raccoon stayed still, perhaps still slightly affected by the earlier sedation. MEV 12 made soft, chiming sounds of delight, holding the animal with 2 arms while using a 3rd to stroke its head. Then everything went wrong at once. The bright lights, strange smells, and unfamiliar blue creature holding it became too much for the raccoon. It suddenly twisted in MEV 12's grip and did what threatened raccoons instinctively do. It bit down hard on the alien's lower right arm. MEV 12 let out a high-pitched wailing sound that hurt Frank's ears. The raccoon, now fully alert and terrified, clung to the alien's arm, its teeth sunk deep into the blue flesh. Frank rushed forward. "Don't pull, you'll make it worse." He grabbed a nearby towel and threw it over the raccoon, then gently worked to loosen its jaw grip on the alien's arm. By now, the commotion had drawn attention. Alarms sounded throughout the research base. Security personnel ran into the room, followed by Dr. Jenkins and Susan. "What happened?" Susan demanded, taking in the chaotic scene. Frank finally managed to get the raccoon to release its bite. He quickly put it back in the carrier and secured the latch. MEV 12 opened the carrier and tried to handle the raccoon without authorization. "Doctor." Jenkins rushed to examine the alien's arm. Blue blood dripped onto the white floor from 2 deep puncture wounds where the raccoon's canine teeth had penetrated. "We need to clean this immediately," he said, reaching for a first aid kit. But MEV-12 pulled away, making strange gurgling sounds that the translator couldn't interpret. The alien's 3 eyes had widened, and the scales around the bite marks were already turning a darker shade of blue. Susan stepped forward. "MEV-12, please let us help you. We need to clean the wound to prevent infection." The alien finally spoke words the translator could handle. This was not supposed to happen. The small animals are gentle. They do not attack in the videos. "They're wild animals," Frank explained. "They get scared, and when they're scared, they can bite. That's why we have strict protocols about interactions." Dr. Jenkins managed to apply an antiseptic to the wound and wrap it in a bandage. "You should go to your medical facility. Your doctors will know best how to treat your physiology." MEV-12 nodded and hurried away, still making distressed sounds. Susan turned to Frank. "This is bad. Really bad. We don't know how their bodies react to Earth bacteria." "Should I cancel today's observation?" Frank asked. Before Susan could answer, an alarm blared throughout the base. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Over the intercom, a voice announced, "Attention all personnel. The Zeridian vessel has initiated security protocols. All scheduled activities are suspended. All Zeridian visitors are being recalled to their ship. Please stand by for further instructions." Susan's face went pale. "It's worse than I thought." 2 hours after the raccoon bite incident, the situation at the Wyoming research base had changed completely. The friendly atmosphere was gone. Zeridian guards now stood at every entrance, their normally relaxed posture replaced by rigid alertness. Their blue skin seemed darker, and they carried long silver rods that humans had never seen before. Susan Garcia paced outside the main medical facility. Through the windows, she could see Zeridian doctors moving quickly around MEV-12, who lay on an examination table. The alien's arm had swollen to twice its normal size, and strange bright patterns spread across the blue skin. "This is bad," Dr. Alan Jenkins said, joining Susan. "Their ship has called for an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. All Zeridian tourists are being evacuated from Earth. Their ships are leaving zoos and wildlife parks as we speak." Susan ran a hand through her curly hair. "Have they said anything about MEV-12's condition?" "Nothing official. But I overheard 2 of their doctors talking. From what I could understand, the translator only caught parts of it. But they've never seen anything like this reaction before." A tall Zeridian approached them. It was Clock 7, the ambassador. The alien's normally friendly demeanor was gone. All 4 arms were held stiffly at its sides. "Dr. Rodriguez is being brought here from Washington," Clock 7 announced without greeting. "She is your leading expert on cross-species biology. She will assist our medical team." Susan nodded. "Of course, we want to help in any way we can." "The High Council has called an emergency session," Clock 7 continued. "Your United Nations representatives will attend via video link. This meeting will begin in 1 hour. Ambassador," Susan said carefully, "we deeply regret this incident. But MEV-12 did not follow established safety protocols. The raccoon was not cleared for direct contact." Clock 7's 3 eyes narrowed. "The protocols were too slow. We have been on your planet for half a year and still must watch most animals from behind barriers. Our scientists are frustrated. Safety measures exist for good reasons," Dr. Jenkins cut in. "Today's incident proves that." The ambassador made a sharp musical sound. "We were not warned that your animals carry dangerous biological agents that could harm us." "Bacteria and viruses exist in all Earth environments," Susan explained. "They're not dangerous to humans because we've evolved alongside them, but they can affect other species differently." Before Clock 7 could respond, alarms sounded throughout the base again. A voice came over the intercom. "Attention all personnel. Multiple Zeridian vessels have taken up positions in Earth orbit. Please remain calm and continue normal operations." The ambassador turned without another word and walked back toward the medical facility. Susan and Dr. Jenkins exchanged worried looks. "They're positioning their ships. That can't be good." Jenkins whispered. Let's go to the command center, Susan suggested. We need to find out what's happening. In the command center, dozens of people gathered around screens showing news reports and satellite images. The main screen showed 7 large Zeridian ships positioned around Earth. Commander Peter Walsh stood in the center of the room, talking, on a secure line to Washington. He hung up and addressed the anxious staff. The President has convened an emergency security council. The military is on high alert, but we've been ordered not to take any aggressive actions. This is now a diplomatic situation. What do the Zeridians want? Frank Wilson asked. He had been helping monitor the raccoons, making sure they weren't harmed during the commotion. We don't know yet, Commander Walsh replied. But satellite imagery shows their weapon systems are active. They've never done that before. Susan stepped forward. Commander, I'd like permission to contact Dr. Rodriguez. She's on her way here, and she might have insights that could help us. Walsh nodded. Go ahead. Use my office for privacy. In the commander's office, Susan made the call. Dr. Kimberly Rodriguez answered immediately. I'm on a military transport, she said. We'll be at the Wyoming base in 20 minutes. What's the latest? Susan quickly explained about MEV-12's worsening condition and the Zeridian ships taking positions around Earth. I was afraid of this. Dr. Rodriguez sighed. Their physiology is completely different from ours. Their immune system has never encountered Earth bacteria. It's probably overreacting to the bite, causing a massive inflammatory response. Can you help them treat it? I'll try. I've been studying their biology since first contact. But Susan, there's something else you should know. The Zeridians come from a world with very few animal species. They've never developed the concept of dangerous wildlife. On their planet, all remaining animals are docile herbivores. The idea that a small, cute animal could harm them is completely foreign to their culture. So they see this as a deliberate attack? Susan asked, her stomach sinking. Possibly, or at least as negligence on our part for not warning them properly. After hanging up, Susan rejoined the others in the command center. On the main screen, the UN Secretary General was now addressing the world. Citizens of Earth, we face a serious diplomatic situation. I urge everyone to remain calm. Negotiations with the Zeridian High Council will begin shortly. All scheduled interactions with Zeridian visitors are temporarily suspended. Please do not approach any Zeridian facilities or vessels. Just as the message ended, Dr. Rodriguez arrived at the base. She was immediately escorted to the medical facility where MEV-12's condition had deteriorated further. The patterns on the alien's skin now glowed with a faint light, and the arm had turned almost black. Susan, Commander Walsh, and Dr. Jenkins waited outside, while Dr. Rodriguez joined the Zeridian medical team. The UN meeting is starting, a technician called out. The main screen in the hallway switched to show the emergency session. The image showed the UN Security Council chamber on one side, and the Zeridian High Council on the other. The alien counselors all had their arms in rigid positions, a sign of extreme displeasure that humans had learned to recognize. Your life forms harbor invisible weapons, the Zeridian Council leader stated coldly. Scientist MEV-12 suffers from a condition our medical technology cannot address. We were not informed of these dangers. President Olivia Reeves appeared on screen, representing Earth. Her face was grave but composed. High Council, we deeply regret the injury to scientist MEV-12. But this was an accident resulting from disregard of established safety protocols. Earth animals naturally carry microorganisms that pose no threat to humans, but can affect different biologies in unpredictable ways. The council leader made a dismissive gesture with their upper arms. You should have warned us more clearly of these invisible dangers. Now one of our most respected scientists fights for life because of your negligence. As the diplomatic exchange grew more heated, Susan noticed General Victor Matthews, Earth's military representative, whisper to an aide. Though she couldn't hear his words, she could read his lips. Perhaps we should remind them that they rushed the interaction protocols. We advised a full year of study before direct contact. Susan turned to Commander Walsh. This is going badly. Very badly. Yes, he agreed grimly. and our satellites show more Zeridian ships entering the solar system. The emergency doors suddenly opened, and Dr. Rodriguez emerged from the medical facility, her face pale with worry. "We have a serious problem," she announced. "MEV-12's immune system is attacking everything foreign in a way we've never seen before, and it's getting worse by the hour." 3 days passed with growing tension. Zeridian ships now surrounded Earth, their weapons ready. World leaders tried to calm their frightened citizens, but fear spread quickly. Many people left big cities, worried about possible alien attacks. In the Wyoming research base, Dr. Kimberly Rodriguez worked without sleep. She moved between the lab and MEV-12's room, trying different treatments to help the sick alien. Susan Garcia and Dr. Alan Jenkins assisted her, carrying equipment and samples back and forth. "The infection is unlike anything I've ever seen," Dr. Rodriguez said, looking at test results on her screen. "The bacteria from the raccoon's mouth is causing an extreme reaction in MEV-12's immune system." Susan handed her a cup of coffee. "Can you help?" "Maybe. I've been studying how our antibiotics affect their biology, but I need more time." Time was running out. The emergency UN sessions continued without progress. The Zeridians demanded compensation for the attack on their scientist. They wanted stricter controls on all future interactions with Earth's wildlife. On the morning of the 4th day, Commander Peter Walsh received an urgent call from Washington. He rushed to find Susan and Dr. Rodriguez in the lab. "The Zeridian High Council has given us an ultimatum," he said, his face grim. "If MEV-12 dies, they will consider it an act of biological warfare. They're demanding we turn over all our animal research and give them control of wildlife preserves around the world." "That's ridiculous," Susan exclaimed. "It was an accident caused by their scientists ignoring safety rules." "They don't see it that way," Commander Walsh explained. "Their culture doesn't have a concept of dangerous wildlife. To them, if something is dangerous, it must have been made dangerous on purpose." Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her microscope. "I think I might have something. I've been combining our antibiotics with Zeridian healing compounds. The latest mixture shows promise in the lab tests." "How soon can you try it on MEV-12? Susan asked. "Right now. We don't have time to wait." They hurried to the medical facility where MEV-12 lay barely conscious. The alien's normally blue skin had turned almost black around the bite area. Strange glowing lines spread across the entire body, pulsing with an unnatural light. Zeridian doctors stepped aside as Dr. Rodriguez approached with a syringe containing a green liquid. They had tried all their treatments without success and were now willing to try human medicine. "This might not work," Dr. Rodriguez warned, "but it's our best chance." She carefully injected the medicine into MEV-12's arm. Then they waited. For the first hour, nothing seemed to change. Then slowly the glowing lines began to fade. The swelling in the bitten arm reduced slightly. "It's working," Susan whispered. Dr. Rodriguez checked MEV-12's vital signs on the alien medical equipment. "The infection is retreating. It's slow, but it's definitely working." News of the improvement spread quickly. Ambassador Clox 7 came to see for himself. He stood by MEV-12's bed, all 4 arms now in a more relaxed position. "The High Council will be informed immediately," he said. "This may change the diplomatic situation." By the next morning, MEV-12 was sitting up and able to speak. The arm remained discolored, but the infection had stopped spreading. The glowing lines had disappeared completely. "I made a serious error," the alien admitted to Susan and Dr. Rodriguez. "I did not follow the safety protocols. My curiosity overcame my training." "We're just glad you're recovering," Susan said. That afternoon, a special meeting was called. Representatives from Earth and Zerid gathered in the base's main conference room. Large screens showed leaders from both worlds joining remotely. Ambassador Clock 7 spoke first. "The High Council has considered recent events carefully. We acknowledge that scientist MEV-12 acted against established protocols. The incident was not a deliberate attack by Earth. Our ships will stand down." Relief washed over the room. Susan noticed Frank Wilson letting out a long breath at the back of the room. President Olivia Reeves appeared on the main screen. "We thank the High Council for their understanding. This incident has taught both our peoples an important lesson about our differences. Indeed, Clock 7 agreed. We have been naive. Our fascination with your animals blinded us to the fundamental differences between our species. A new agreement was drafted over the next few days. The Pet Diplomacy Initiative was replaced with the Biosafety Cultural Exchange Program. The Zeridians would continue studying Earth's animals, but with stricter safety measures. All observations would happen through special containment systems designed by both human and Zeridian scientists. 1 year later, Susan walked through the expanded Wyoming facility with MEV-12. The alien had fully recovered except for the permanent blue-black markings on one arm. The research base had grown into a massive complex with advanced laboratories and observation domes. Our scientists have made remarkable progress understanding your microbiome, MEV-12 said. We are developing new medical treatments based on what we learned from my infection. They stopped at a large observation dome where a group of Zeridian tourists watched a family of raccoons playing by a stream. The animals were behind special triple-layered barriers that protected both them and their observers. They still find our animals fascinating, Susan noted. Yes, but now we understand them better, MEV-12 replied. The small creatures you call raccoons are both beautiful and dangerous in their own way. Like much of life, they contain contradictions. Frank. Wilson joined them, carrying data tablets with the day's observation schedules. The new Zeridian tourists are much more patient, he commented. They're happy just watching from a safe distance. We have learned respect, MEV-12 explained. On our world, we lost respect for nature long ago because so little remained. Your Earth has taught us to appreciate the complete nature of living things, both their beauty and their danger. In another dome nearby, Zeridian and human scientists worked side by side, studying how Earth bacteria affected different materials. The knowledge gained from MEV-12's infection had opened new research areas for both species. Sometimes a little bite of reality is exactly what we need, Susan said, watching as a young raccoon washed a piece of fruit in the stream, its small hands working with careful precision. Yes, MEV-12 agreed, touching the dark marks on one arm. Pain can be an excellent teacher, especially for those who have forgotten how to listen to nature's warnings. The incident that nearly brought two species to war had instead created deeper understanding. Earth continued to share its amazing biodiversity with the Zeridians, who in turn shared their advanced technology. But now both sides moved forward with greater wisdom and respect for their differences. In the end, one small raccoon had taught an advanced alien civilization something their technology had allowed them to forget, that the natural world deserves both wonder and respect, that beauty and danger often exist together, and that sometimes the smallest creatures can make the biggest difference.